Yes, you guys, welcome back. I'm the EFC. This is Blue Lines TV, and today I'm here to bring you guys a match preview for upcoming games tomorrow at 3 p.m. against Burnley. In today's preview, I'm going to break down Lampard's press conference. I'm going to give you guys my predicted lineup for tomorrow's game, and to end things, I have a special guest on in Son of Chelsea, where we're going to give our thoughts and opinions on the things we want to see in tomorrow's game. Now, before I get into anything though, you guys, let me get one quick plug out of the way first. Today's video is brought to you by OneFootball. Download the OneFootball app right now, you guys, to stay up to date to the latest news, figures and stats in regards to this club. It's so quick, it's convenient, I use it constantly every single time. When I'm doing my scrolling text, I'm using the OneFootball app to get the stats from the game because it's such a great app where I can find all these little features and details that I need at my disposal. And you know, I like how simple the interface is right now. Yes, it's a bit black and white, but to be honest, I'm here for the information. I don't want distractions with unnecessary graphics, and you know, I do feel like the OneFootball app, as I've been using it over the years, has been getting better and better. So if you guys want to check out for yourselves, you'll find a link below in the description. And without wasting any more time, we start with Lampard's press conference, and let me break down what he had to say. Now, one of the first things that we learned in the press conference yesterday was the fact that Thiago Silva was left out the team, not because he had any injury concerns, but because Lampard understands that at his age right now, quality is more important than quantity. And I honestly think that's the best thing to do. I think Thiago will be more important in the league games and, you know, big cup games, potentially big European games as well this season. Using him in this way is more beneficial for the long-term benefits of the team, and at the same time, this gives Lampard an opportunity to maybe rotate some defenders to assess how they're doing and compare their strengths and qualities to the team. So I think this is the perfect thing to do. Lampard, he was an older player himself, he knows how to handle these situations, so this was great to see. Now to move on, we found out that Kepa currently has a slight shoulder injury. We don't know how long he's going to be out for, but to be honest, at this point in time, regardless if he came back ready and fit for the game tomorrow, Mendy's going to play, and Mendy's going to play in every game. So that's all I've got to say on that matter, you guys. Moving on, Lampard was asked about what his plans were to incorporate all our great attacking players that we have at this point in time. Obviously, Lampard isn't going to reveal anything when it comes to certain details like that. Managers keep these details to themselves, and it was no surprise that Lampard gave a very standard answer. For me personally, when I look at the attacking depth of your Spurs, your Man Uniteds, your Man Cities, your Liverpools, we're on the same level. Look at Spurs, for example. In that recent game against Royal Antwerp, we saw Bergwijn, we saw Vinicius, we saw, I don't know who was playing on the right hand side. And on the bench, you had Son, Kane, and obviously Bale as well. So we aren't doing anything different. If anything, we are competing on the same standards and principles as the rest of our competition. This is how big clubs operate. And to move on, you guys, I'm going to end with the two most interesting things from the press conference. Number one, of course, Lampard was asked in regards to whether we are going to see a 4-3-3 in tomorrow's game. Managers will never ever reveal those types of information, so at times I don't understand why journalists even waste their time asking that. I'm hoping to see that tomorrow, you guys, but to move on and end with the press conference, it's a pretty interesting end to it because it centers around Jesse Marsch, the American manager currently managing RB Salzburg, doing an incredible job, revealing that maybe Lampard has some slight reservations in regards to Pulisic at points throughout their careers together. Now, Lampard came out in defense for himself, saying that, you know, this wasn't the case at all, and really explaining with detail and context that I don't know what exactly, to be honest. I felt like it was pretty defensive, and to keep it real, you guys, you know, Lampard, yeah, maybe he did have some slight reservations at the start last season. I think so. But I also think that Pulisic definitely performs. Pulisic performs, and any manager in the world would have been forced to have to play him in the first team. So the reason why I think that Lampard was quite defensive was because, number one, what Jesse Marsch is saying is really old news from way deep into last season that's only coming out right now. With this particular context today, Pulisic's a first team player, Lampard looks up to him, and you know, to bring up some negative reports from, you know, yesteryear, it's not doing anything for anyone, and it's no surprise why Lampard was put on the defensive. But to move on, you guys, that is the end of the press conference. We now move on to the predicted lineup part for today's video. I'm going to make this very brief, you guys. There's only going to be one formation for the prediction, and that's a 4-3-3. In this lineup, I have to see Werner up front, Ziyech down the right. I need to see Pulisic down the left. In midfield, I need to see Mason Mount, Kai Havertz with Kante in behind, and in defense, I need to see Ben, Silva, Zuma, Reece James with Mendy in goal. For me, this could be one of the big opportunities to see, you know, potentially the strongest possible 11 in the team right now playing in a Premier League game. I just think that the fluidity we saw once, you know, Frank made that triple substitution, the improvement was exponential. It was all the things that I've always been sensing that we were eventually going to lead towards, because I think the main reality behind why we haven't seen it so early on is because, you know, players are coming into the team inconsistently. You know, how many players have suffered injuries? How many times has Lampard had to maybe adjust certain lineups depending on the players that he currently had at his disposal? You know, there's so much context, but the reality is you have to remain patient. You know, there's no way that when we sign on these players, there was no vision to play them all together. For me, it has to be 4-3-3. If you are going to use a two in midfield, you need to have that Cesc guy in there that can play these great accurate balls from deep while keeping his position, which we don't have at all in this team. With a 4-3-3, you see the positions they take up, you see the areas they move into, you know, you see how they respond with each other. And for me, they just instantly looked a lot more confident. And I think that's what we have to see. For example, when Ziyech scored that unbelievable goal, I mean, I can imagine that all you guys was really like running that goal back time and time again to keep seeing it, because that first touch was out of this world. He was in that position because Kai wasn't there, because Kai moved to the right hand side. And that's what I think we're going to be about. I mean, even in that game, we saw Timo Werner playing as a false nine, and he's going to be very interesting to pay attention to in tomorrow's game. Werner has been used in very unique ways under Lampard so far. A lot of times we've seen him drift down the left-hand side. We've seen him play up front as well. And we've seen him being used as a false nine, where he's able to go all the way back to the halfway line to, you know, receive these passes and, you know, make the play happen. So I think it's quite exciting to see Werner play this way, because as he keeps playing in that role, developing, getting better and better, getting used to the league and his teammates too, he's going to be an exceptional player when he's like 27, 28 years old. So this for me is how I think we're going to play. Before the season started, I've been advocating that the plan for this season is to see us becoming a super fluid, dynamic team that can change formations dynamically on the fly, you know, depending on certain in-game situations. This is what we're going to be about. I think we saw the briefest glimpse of this against Krasnodar a few days ago. This is what our future is going to be. And hopefully against Burnley, we're going to see this lineup. We're going to see them playing games together, building that consistency, that form, that understanding. Because when they do that, and once I've seen at least 5 games of my strongest team playing together, that's when I can start making critical judgments, you guys. But to end things, we're now going to move on to the final segment for today, and that is the prediction part, where I'm going to be joined by a very special guest in Son of Chelsea. Hey, Son of Chelsea, how you doing today, man? Of course, the game against Burnley tomorrow. I want to know your predictions for the game tomorrow. What type of moments are you hoping for? What type of players are you hoping are going to perform? And what do you think the scoreline is going to be in tomorrow's game?
I'm sort of hoping for a little bit more flair, like we saw at the end of the Krasnodar game. That sort of final 20 minutes, I think, was really exciting to sort of see our best attacking players sort of let loose, and I hope we see a bit more of that tomorrow. I think that Burnley, you always expect is going to be a difficult game. They're going to play very narrow. It's going to be a low block. We're going to have to be patient. But I hope the likes of Ziyech and maybe Reece James, we get to see that connection tomorrow really for the first time since that Brighton friendly, and see some of those movements. I think there could be a lot of space for Reece tomorrow to really get a good impact in the game really. And I think Ziyech definitely cutting in on that left. He had a really good night the other night.
Yeah.
And Christian Pulisic, I mean, Pulisic, seeing him back in the game, I think it is massive for Chelsea, and he had an amazing game last year at Turf Moor. So I think he could have a similar impact tomorrow.
I 100% agree, man. Like Hakim Ziyech, for me, he's the guy. I did a video like years back about replacements for Hazard, and I was like, for me, if I could sign anyone, it would be Ziyech. So obviously seeing him sign, it's like a reality just like coming true, like a fantasy coming true, to be honest. And just his creativity, his ability, the first touch, the skill, like, these are the qualities that you need if you want to be a club that does challenge for trophies, and you do want to lead the pack. You need players of this caliber and dimension, and playing in that 4-3-3, seeing these guys interchanging positions, seeing the fluidity, seeing for me, just the improvement in everything. Like even our rivals inside the books, of course, Krasnodar, they were defending a bit, and yeah, as the game goes on, they get a bit tired. But to be honest, up until that substitution, they were really holding out. They were really defending okay, and we weren't creating as many opportunities until that substitution came on. So I think the minute Lampard made that was like a statement in the sense that this is what you have to expect. This is what the game plan will be like. And I'm really hoping in tomorrow's game against Burnley, a Premier League game against, a decent Premier League team in Burnley, we get to see this 11 fully doing their thing in a Premier League game.
Yeah, absolutely. I think the intriguing thing for me is formation. Will Frank be influenced by the final 20 minutes against Krasnodar? Will he see that 4-3-3 and think to himself, in a game where Chelsea expected to dominate, maybe I'll play both Mason and Kai as sort of attacking eights? And I think that may be a good idea, because I was worried the other night when both Cover and Jorginho, two players, of course they have defensive frailties, but you expect them to control a game in possession. That's part of their game. You expect in that type of game they'll flourish, but they didn't against Krasnodar. It wasn't helping us to control the game. And I just wonder, having two players like Mason and Kai further up the pitch opens up more space and more options for us. I don't want to see all this attacking talent sort of contained. I think it's positive that sort of the defensive Brazilians we've seen is a massive improvement since the last time I spoke to you. Seeing that Thiago Silva, Kurt Zuma, Dave or Reece and Ben Chilwell and Mendy, of course, Mendy's made such a big difference. Seeing that consistency back there is brilliant, and it's given us hopefully a good platform to move on. But I don't want to see us sort of contain, and I just wonder, I don't know if you agree, to me the 4-2-3-1 feels a little bit like a compromise from Frank.
100%.
He's concerned over that midfield balance, and there are risks with all these midfields, right? The 4-3-3 has its own risks if you play Kante sort of out of position. But I just wonder, in games like Burnley, it could help Chelsea.
Well, I've got my own personal take on that. I'm remembering when Lampard first came, how he took over in pre-season. We used about, I think, 3 different formations. We saw like the diamonds with 2 strikers up front. We saw 4-2-3-1 and we saw 4-3-3. And, because there hasn't been any pre-season, I think it's still one of those things that, we have to accept that the reality that without a pre-season, it's going to affect everything. But at the same time, I can understand how easy it is to just dismiss it and not take it serious, because now we're seeing games live and it's about winning right now. It doesn't matter what your preparation is. So, in that sense, I do think that we can't be a team that only plays one way. So if Lampard had to use a 4-2-3-1 and, a back 3 system, maybe that's telling me that our 3 systems this season are going to be, 3-4-3, 4-2-3-1 and 4-3-3, which I think this team is balanced for perfectly. But I think right now maybe the 4-2-3-1 could be the weakest, in the sense that I don't feel we have that personnel midfield that can really take responsibility like that. But anyway, man, so we can quickly wrap up the preview for today. If you can briefly tell me your match prediction scoreline for tomorrow's game. I'm
going to go over 3-0 win. Predicting a clean sheet under Lampard is not that sort of a regular occurrence, but I think you have to be confident in the defence recently. The improvement, 3 clean sheets in a row, 4 clean sheets with Edouard Mendy in goal. It's a real improvement. I think in terms of goal scorers, I'd like to see Hakim Ziyech get his first Premier League goal off the back of his first Chelsea goal. Timo Werner on the score sheet, and I have to give it to Christian Pulisic as well, going back to a ground he dominated last year. So those would be my 3 scorers, and hopefully a big win for Chelsea, because I think it could do us the world of good.
I think we're all kind of hoping, if we use that front 3, that all these guys get in the score sheet like in the last game. So I'm hoping for a continuation of that. I'm not going to waste any time. I've got literally the same prediction as Son of Chelsea right now, you guys. 3-0 to me, with Werner, Ziyech and Pulisic scoring. So on that note, Daniel, thank you for coming on, man. Always great talking to you. And to let you guys know, I'm going to be featuring on this channel next week on Thursday for a podcast episode. So stay tuned for that. And you guys, on that note, I'm going to wrap things up and keep things moving. I'm the EFC. This is Blue Lions TV. I'll catch you guys later with some more videos.